All right, for the band or cable pancake stretch, I'm going to be using a banded setup here, and I'm going to show a couple of different options that you have for the banded setup. For the cable, you kind of only have one option, but if you have either piece of equipment, either one is a perfectly solid choice. So what I'm going to do is sitting on the floor, I'm going to set my cable or set my band right above the floor. It doesn't have to be the lowest possible option, but you can play around a little bit with the height of that anchor point. You might like it a little bit higher, you might like it a little bit lower. Once you do a couple of repetitions, you'll probably know where you land. You're gonna set yourself up with your legs split apart nice and wide. The wider your legs get, the harder this exercise becomes. And I'm gonna explain kind of how we wanna dial in the intensity for this exercise. So first, I'm gonna show the variation that both band and cable can do. So I'm holding on to my band. If I have the cable, I can use the handles or use the rope, whatever I like better in my hand. I'm gonna sit up nice and tall, and I wanna try and lift my tailbone up as high as I can. It's very important that I'm sitting on top of my sit bones on my pelvis, rather than having my tailbone kind of tucked underneath me, because as I go forward, if I'm in a bad position, this is really just going to be stretching my lower back muscles more than anything. And we really want this mobilization to be stretching a lot more of the muscles of our hips. So when I go forward or when I set up in the top, I want to try and lift that tailbone high, bring my chest big and proud, and then allow that band or that cable tension to pull me forward. You do want to be set up with a band and with a distance or a cable that you can go as far as you want forward, and that band shouldn't go loose. You should always feel that tension trying to pull you forward into the stretch. Some modifications that a lot of us are going to have to make for this. In this bottom position, especially once we split our legs apart, a lot of us are going to struggle to try and sit on top of those sit bones and get that nice seated posture from the floor. It's a very simple solution for that. I'm going to use a crash pad, so it's about 4 or so inches off of the floor, and it's a foam pad. So really anything that resembles what I'm using right here will work perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this pad in so that I'm sitting on top of the pad, and then I'm going to extend my legs back out in front. And you can probably already see, I personally don't really need the pad, but now that I'm sitting on top of it, it's really easy to access that nice tall position with my tailbone lifted high. It's a lot harder. I would have to force my back to round to get into that bad position. But if on the floor, I can't get into this good position, then you're gonna wanna elevate just a little bit. Once I'm in this elevated position, I'll grab a hold of my band or my cable again. And then again, I can keep that nice tall posture for as long as I possibly can. I don't have a great setup here because I'm losing that band tension. But again, I could just pull up higher, and that would be a better setup for me. A couple of other points that really help you get a lot out of this exercise is as I'm folding forward, I can actually try to point my toes like I'm trying to flex my calf muscles as well. And that's gonna buy me a little bit more range of motion when I'm trying to work repetitions of this exercise. With that being said, if I'm trying to intensify the exercise, I can try to pull my toes back towards my face and try to squeeze my toes back, and that is gonna put a lot more tension into these target muscles. So if you're somebody who's a little bit more flexible and you're trying to get more out of this exercise, try to pull your toes up and squeeze them back, and that will externally rotate your hips and target these inner thigh muscles a whole lot better. The second option you have, if you have a banded setup, is I can swim inside of this band. So it's going right across my shoulder blades behind me, scoot back again, and then I have the same exact setup here, but instead of having to hold on with my hands, I can kind of relax my hands onto my band and then fold into that nice deep pancake stretch. The band is still trying to pull me deeper and deeper into that stretch. I go as far as I can, and then I squeeze back up to the top. You may be doing repetitions of this movement. In that case, I want to go as far as I can, reach that final position, and then squeeze myself back up to the top. If you're doing this for a timed interval, I want to really slowly lower myself into this bottom position and just work on trying to relax my breathing as best as I can and try to slowly feel that band, try to pull me ever so slightly as I try to relax deeper and deeper into that bottom position. If you have any questions on this movement, feel free to drop a comment below.